Pardon me, I've been traveling for the last 30 days and I have a very bad cold, so I haven't really prepared for this talk, but I'll try to give you as much as I can. So I'll try to answer some questions which I had as an aspirant when I was at your stage sitting at these benches. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to stop me at any point of the time and ask them as many questions as possible because that would make the session more informative for you guys and useful for you guys because I can't really get a hold of what the crowd wants. So before starting, I want to recount a small anecdote. So 5 years back in 2019, I think in April or May, I was at the back in the same conference hall, CF3. So then UPSC ranker Akshat Jain, he was the second ranker of his batch, came here, and that is when I really kick-started my preparation. Sitting at that, and as life came a full circle, I came to this very place and this very conference hall to give a topper's talk on the other side of the table. So for that, I'll feel very grateful, and I really hope I'd be very much honored if this talk would also bring some more toppers from this crowd in the future. All the best for that. To start up, the first question as a student of in this college would be key, when to start preparation. So I'm not talking about if I should start preparation because that's a very broad question and that's for you to decide. It's a very personal choice. But let's start with when do we start preparation. So many people ask me. I've seen people preparing from their first semester itself. First year they started writing mock tests, and I've seen such people not even qualify prelims, and I've seen people who just pick up the book after their graduation, after sitting for placements. They don't like their job, just suddenly pick the book up and start preparing and just crack the examination. So if you ask me, the proper time to start the preparation would be somewhere in your final semester. So even if a master's or a BTech, so I'm a BTech, so I'll start from a BTech. I'll say from a BTech perspective. So the thing is, the thing is, you shouldn't lose your college life. Don't just keep preparing for UPSC and not just experiencing the college life right from first year or second year because uh, to me it's literally no use because this examination requires at least one full year of proper full time preparation. You need to sit with the UPSC books without any other thing for at least 1 year to give this examination. So that is the time this examination needs. So that is the motivation you need to clear this examination. So if you start preparing from say your first year or your second year, so you lose your motivation when you need it the most after the end of your fourth year. So I would really suggest you to start preparation to peak to predict it in such a way that your peak of your motivation hits during the first 1 year of your full-time preparation, that is after you pass out from this college. So I really started preparing. I had this idea of preparing in UPSC right from my first year, but I never picked up a book really. But I started preparing right in my eighth semester. So that is when I started becoming picking up the book and started actually sitting for UPSC. So that, and when you start do it in the college taki. So that comes to the second question ki how to prepare. So if you're starting in your final semester, the first thing which you should be doing is to do research. That is a very important part in cracking this examination because it's not like any other thing. So you can't just go pick up NCRTs and start studying them cover to cover without knowing what to study, why you're studying. So the first thing you should be research, and that gives a structure to your preparation, an idea on how to prepare, what to prepare, your strengths and your weaknesses. So how do you do this research? That's also a pertinent question. Ki, कहाँ से करूँ? Like, how does I get to know? Okay, is there any literature on this, or is there any some books I could read on how to read for UPSC? The simple thing: use internet. You keep following UPSC news. Keep watching YouTube videos on how to actually on the nuances of preparation. See, every year 10, 10, 15 toppers come up in this examination, and each of the topper delivers 2.5 hour videos. Even mine, you can see a 2 hour or a 2.5 hour video on Vision IS YouTube channel, giving a detailed view of my preparation. And you start watching, say, 4 or 5 of such videos of people from different backgrounds or a background of your choice. See, for example, I used to watch Akshat Bhaiya's video when I started preparation for my research because we had a matching, like he was from IIT Guwahati, and incidentally he was also a part of Team Alcheringa, like I were. So these things somehow felt ki since the backgrounds have matched, I'll try watching his video. I watched his video, I picked up a lot from him, and then I started watching the videos of the other toppers, and then start learning something from it. Jot down the points. There are things which you have to do as an aspirant to actually structure your preparation, to actually know how to make notes, to actually know how uh, one to make notes, to what books to read, why to read, and stuff like that. So based on that, you need to delineate these important points. Ki, ha, this is my resource list. First, you need to know there's something called resource list. Resource list is the list of books which you would study during the course of your preparation. And the importance of this resource list is, once you have a resource list, you're not budging from it. Say you prepared a resource list, ki geography ke liye, I'll read book A, book B, book C, and book D, and you're not budging from these. And some other guy, some of your friend or roommate comes and say कि यार ये book अच्छा है geography के लिए, last year prelims में book E और book D, book X, Y, Z से ये questions आई, ये पढ़ लेते हैं. No, you're not budging from it, because your resource list should be so rigid and so, you know, it should inspire confidence in you कि हाँ, ये अगर ये 5 book पढ़ के मैं geography का कोई भी question answer कर सकता हूँ. अगर ये 5 book अगर एक question answer नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, then it's not mistake of the resource list or you. It is a question that has come out of the blue. It's a bouncer, and ऐसे questions आते रहते हैं. You can't read every book under the sun or every topic under the sun. So you need to put that efficiency in your preparation. So that would be a resource list would do that. So to prepare this resource list, you're watching these videos. एंड देन रिसोर्स लिस्ट पहले आपको पता भी होना चाहिए ना कि रिसोर्स लिस्ट होता क्या है, कि रिसोर्स लिस्ट भी एक चीज होती है. सो दैट इज द थिंग यू टू डू इन योर फाइनल सेमेस्टर और when or in your final year if you're not from the BTech. So that is why I say कि पहले ये research बहुत जरूरी है. So from this research, what comes out is a timetable. So you need to plan your preparation. कि I have 10 topics, I have 10 subjects. जैसे if I can recount an example from my preparation point of view, कि हाँ एक अब तो I have a resource list in my hand. I watched toppers videos. अब मेरे को पता है कि ये books पढ़ना है, ऐसा पढ़ना है, कि ये notes ऐसा बनाना है, and stuff like that. Abhi now I passed out in May, for example. So mine was a COVID year, 3 months late. So I passed out in like September or August, I don't remember. But usually say you're passing out in May, and you're starting your preparation in June, and the next exam will be on May last week. So you have about 12 months for the prelims and 3 more months for the mains. So now you need to plan your thing accordingly. जैसे कि जून में I'll say June, July and August I'll give for optional. Say September, October I'll give for geography, October, November for history and the allied topics like culture and stuff like that. Excuse me. And then December for polity, January for economics, and I think somewhere 52 weeks in between, and then I'll revise and stuff like that. So I'm giving a rough idea. It's not like you should read geography in September only and stuff like that. But I'm giving a broad idea. This mind should be there. So taki you leave 90 days for prelims, and the rest 9 months which you have, you should be planning keeping mains in your mind. So for 9 months you break up into the parts कि हाँ इस महीने में इस डेट से इस डेट तक ये सब्जेक्ट पढ़ूंगा. This entire thing, the strategy, the resources, the timetable you should have before you start preparing. That is, in your final semester, if you have these things in your hand, you can actually start preparing in full, with full speed after you actually graduate, and you have 8-9 hours to yourself in a day, like after you graduate, and you finally start preparing. So these things you should do in your final semester. So once you started, this is a macro plan where each month you feel कि ये subject इस month के इसमें पढ़ना है इसमें. Then you break it into further parts. जैसे अभी resources में पता है कि geography में book A, B, C, D है, and you have 1 month, say 1st to 30th of 1 month to read these 4 books, to study these 4 books. अभी you know कि one book might be the easiest and one book might be a tough, मतलब it might not be the shortest book, but it is the toughest nut to crack. So now you spread these 30 days across these 4 books. Say 30 by 4 किया था, it will come to around 7 point something. Now you know कि book A is easy, you will give it 5 days. Book B, maybe it's a tougher nut to crack, you give 8-9 days. Book C, 10 days. You have what is left. Book D. Now you shuffle it, and this is your micro plan. Now you are breaking down your preparation into parts. Now you know कि हाँ अभी तो when you start your preparation, it feels like कि 12 months में I need to read these many amount of books. अभी वो कंडेंस हो गया. अभी योर टारगेट इज नाउ कि अगले हफ्ते में ये बुक पढ़ना है. So now you can see now every time you achieve these targets, these micro targets, you're moving one step closer to your macro target. You're not targeting that only. You're slowly moving to your target, and now you can see the, you're slowly climbing that mountain, and that motivates you a lot. So Abhi, even in this 1 week, you're reading this particular book. This particular book has 7 chapters. So ek din ek chapter padna. So that is the level of micro planning that you have to go to. That is when you can keep yourself motivated at each particular day to read something. If not, no. If you don't do this thing, or else, so you don't have an idea on where you stand during the course of your preparation. कि मतलब 1-2 महीने हो गए, and you don't know whether you're going too fast or too slow. You might be going too fast. Maybe you can add a resource also. You're going too slow. Maybe you need to pick up pace at a later point of time. So that is the thing you need to know. You need to know that continuously, because अगर नहीं पता चला ना, अगर if you don't know कि if you don't know ki whether you're lagging or not, it will be too late to do the damage control. See, you should do the damage control when the exam is in May. If there is a damage, you need to do it with the control in say September or October rather than doing it in February. So once February comes, now you're losing that attempt. 3 महीने में कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. And after that, the next point in how to prepare would be keep the perspective of preparing. Ki I have seen, I got many questions ki prelims ke perspective में पढ़ना है या should I prepare for mains or whatever. So the thing is, the mains is what it counts. The mains plus interview is what gives you the rank. So till the prelims preparation starts, which is 3 months before prelims, which means till February, mid or end February, your focus should be on mains. Only if you could be, see, this is the mantra. Every topper will tell you this only, and this is what everyone. This is where everyone falters. Like one who fails, na, they will realize that they have started preparing for prelims and not for mains. They haven't prepared. They haven't had the courage to write a mains answer, and that is where failure starts. So once you have started preparing, it is for mains that you are preparing. It is that you are writing answers daily. You are writing mocks every 2 weeks. Like before prelims itself, you are mains ready. If not, it's pretty impossible to crack this examination, because mains is what it counts, not prelims. Prelims count is not prelim score is not counted, and not interview. Interview is 275 marks out of 2025, so it's barely 12-13%. But the rest 900 or the rest 800-900 marks you're getting, they're purely from the main score that you're getting, 7 papers. So that is what you have to do. So when you're preparing, you need to prepare from the perspective of mains. And when you come to the mains, mostly a question which comes from the ITG crowd. I have a couple of juniors who have asked me this question also, ki what optional to choose. Do I have to go with the technical options? Say I'm from a mechanical engineering background. Should I take a mechanical engineering option or the mathematics option, or should I go for a humanities option altogether like anthropology? So it's again a choice of yours, because in my case, I picked anthropology as an optional. A reason for that is many people ask me, you're from an IIT, why did you pick maths as your optional? Simple, I was bad at math. I was very bad at math. So there's no point taking some subject for scoring just because someone said scoring and you're not very good at it. There's no point taking it. And the second thing is, after 4 years of engineering, I was kind of fed up with the engineering stuff. So I wanted to go for something like humanities so that I can write answers well, and it also is useful for my GS preparation. But on the other hand, people who are very good at math, or people who are from an MNC branch or who are math minors, and I've seen them taking maths option, and it saves you a lot of time. It saves you a lot of time if you take that, because optional takes a big chunk of your preparation. It takes like 3.5 months of your preparation. So if you feel very confident that you can crack these technical subjects, and they are difficult, tell me, but they are very rewarding. That's the challenge with them. Either you score a 200 or you score a 300. There's no in between when you play with technical options like mechanical engineering or mathematics or electrical engineering. And the syllabus is also vast. You have to invest a lot of your time. So if you feel you're good at it, if you feel you can actually write the questions perfectly, and you have the grip on the subject, the well-versed grip on the subject, you can very well pick a technical optional. But in case you doubt you don't have that time, or you're not very sure on your technical knowledge, you can go to an humanities optional. And what humanities optional to choose is also another question. So that uska answer बहुत simple है कि just go through the syllabus of every optional available humanities ka. Just shortlist based on the names only. You'll shortlist only like 4 or 5 of them. because you won't be able to give the medicine sciences examination or a veterinary sciences examination or any other stuff like that. And बचेंगे तो यही option के anthropology, sociology, psychology, philosophy वाले. And then go through the syllabus of every optional and sorry, go through the syllabus of every optional and you'll find some 2-3 optional interesting of the 4. You'll easily eliminate ki 2 optionals ki nahi ye to mere ko padhna hi nahi hai. So you'll have 2 optionals, say anthropology and sociology, and now you go through the previous papers of these 2 examinations, of these 2 optionals, and previous ka maybe 3 years you can look at those questions and pick the option which you're most comfortable with. अगर आपको लग रहा है कि ये जो questions है, I may be able to answer them if I have enough subject, and those are the options which you can pick. This is a very easy process. Just you have to go through this motion. कि पहले syllabus पढ़ो. That's the difficult part because each optional has like 3-4 pages का syllabus. And it's interesting, trust me. So when you're actually reading those, you'll understand कि हाँ, these things also be part of this optional or something. So trust me, if you do this exercise, you may discover things like, say, I felt anthropology is not so interesting subject, but once I read this syllabus, the parts like culture and archaeology, they really, I found them very interesting. So these things happen. So just don't have any pre-notions in your mind. Just go through the syllabus. Just go through each of the topic and the previous questions. You'll easily find out कि हाँ ये तो मैं करूँगा ही करूँगा. So and the good thing about that is you'll have a good understanding of the subject also, and two, you'll be confident before starting your optional study, and because that is the subject you chose and that is the subject where your interest lies in. If you're not able to actually study that optional, the rest option will be very difficult for you. So you'll be already starting with confidence कि हाँ ये तो मेरे को interest वाला subject है, ये तो इसका syllabus तो मैं पढ़ा हूँ, so I have a bit idea on this. So and the questions also I was able to, I was comfortable with those questions if I had enough knowledge. So you'll start with good confidence and good idea of the subject. In 3 महीने में आराम से you'll do anything. If it's a humanities optional, 3 to 4 months is a good time. You'll easily complete the optional. And if it's a technical subject, another month more. And that's the cost you have to put to that technical options, but it's also very rewarding because you'll get 300 if you do well in the technical subjects. So technical subjects have a 15 mark advantage, if I could say 285 score in anthropology might translate to, if you are in maths, it might translate to a 300 score. But the problem is you have to give more time and you're losing time out on on your GS course. So see, if the balance works out for you, it's fine. If it doesn't work out, then you can try a humanities option. And another question would be should I sit in the placements or not? Should I sit in the interns or not? Now the placements are done, but usually third year is here who is in a dilemma whether he wants to sit in the placements or not. So the thing is, again, whether you want to pursue, if you are very clear कि मेरे को civil services ही करना है, there's no point sitting in placements because a lot of energy will be put in preparing for the civil service exam, especially in sitting for the placements in your 7th semester. That you'd be very tired at the end of it, and 8th semester you will not have energy to put any energy into civil services. And again, it'll start, it's a tempting option, placements. You learn good money, so you already have an assured job for yourself. And it's very difficult, go through the path of civil services where there is uncertainty, where you don't know whether you land up in civil service or not, or which service you land up, which cadre you land up. There's a lot of uncertainty in this path. And job wala to it's pretty easy. वहाँ जाओ, you'll नौकरी लगेगी of course, and you'll get good salaries also. So that is one thing. See, if that feels tempting, you can sit in that, but it won't give you the motivation to prepare for UPSC or not. And parallel to the job preparing is very difficult because UPSC alone takes like say 7 to 8 hours of dedicated preparation per day, at least in your first attempt. So if you're not able to give those hours, you'll only be able to give a half-hearted attempt. See, I'm not saying that in parallel to job it's impossible to crack civil services, but it's difficult to do it in the first time around. So that's the thing. 8 hours you give into your job, 8 hours you give into UPSC. So 16 hours though you'll lose in a day. So you'll only be left with 8 hours. Whether after 8 hours of job you'll be able to give 8 hours of preparation is also a question. So parallel to the job, if you're looking to prepare, this would be a problem. So if you're okay, if you have an understanding management and you're comfortable in giving those 8 hours during doing a job, it's okay. But again, it's a difficult thing to prepare, and don't expect immediate results if you're preparing in parallel with job, because that's what happens. By the time you realize you don't have time, it'll be already too late when you're preparing for job, and you can't sacrifice your 8 hours in the job. Uh, and should you take a job for say 2 3 years and then prepare for UPSC is also a question. So again, it's a cost benefit analysis only. Say in 2 3 years, if you're doing a job, you'll earn good money, and then you'll have some financial backing to fund your UPSC preparation. So that in that way, it is a good idea. But in UPSC, say if you get into an IAS or IPS, so your service length matters very very much, because to become a secretary, to be the highest level of a policy maker, to go to the apex level, so the apex level comes at say 33 and a half years of your service. So you come out at 21, you prepare for an year, the exam process in a year. So the best case is you become a you become an officer at 23, and you'll be left with 37 years of service. So at that point, so right out of a college, you prepare and you get into the service, you'll have at least 3 4 years of service at the apex level. So if you're doing the job for those 2 3 years, you may lose that service in that apex level. You'd be there for about 6 months, or just about a year in the apex level of the service. So that is the cost you're putting it, and that is the reason why many of the officers don't reach the apex level. Also, they retire before they can go to that level. So if you want to reach that level, and if you're confident of doing so, so I think it's better you start appearing at the civil services before you do your job. But if you feel like you need to have some financial backing to fund your preparation, and it's always a good plan B, getting a job, doing a 2 3 years job, you come into the preparation. If it doesn't work out, you can always go back to your job. So that thing is there, and that is also a good option. But if you're very much motivated coming into the service, I prefer the first option, where you prepare for UPSC, and then if it doesn't work out, there's always an option to go back to doing other jobs, but you're still young enough to do so. Say failing at 24 25, it's not a big deal, but failing at 28 29 is big, especially in India. So that's about that. And the next question would be key, if anyone should have a plan B while preparing for UPSC. So I didn't have any plan B, and that is really stupid of me, because you should have a plan B. And for me, it worked out. But if it doesn't work out, it's always good to have a plan B. But again, when you have that safety net of a plan B, you may not be as motivated as you if you don't have a plan B to crack the civil service examination. Because in my case, at one point, I didn't have a plan B, and I'm not from CSE or MNC background. Taki, I just go and I just send my CV to some company and get placed. So at one point, it will be like, कि हाँ मेरे को तो I should crack the civil service examination to get settled somewhere, and that brings an additional motivation into your preparation and uh, uh, into your study. So that is the thing, about having plan B. So again, and it's good if you have a plan B. So I'm not saying you shouldn't have a plan B. And to an IITian, going back to corporates is always a plan B. But market is uncertain. It's not like you can get placed anytime. So if you want to pursue masters somewhere in parallel, prepare to the IAS. Seen my batchmates, some of my batchmates in IAS who are preparing in parallel to a masters, and and they cracked UPSC. So that could be a good option, like studying and in parallel, like preparing for UPSC. And as a student life, being in a master's is also easier to prepare for UPSC than going into the corporates and then preparing. So apart from that, to speak generally, this examination, it requires a lot of resilience and perseverance. You need, like, the mains pattern of this examination. You'll be giving 5 3 hour examination during the course of 3 years. Like Friday 9 to 12, Saturday 9 to 12 2 to 5, Sunday 9 to 12 2 to 5, and all the 3 years you'll be writing 50 pages of answers in total. So imagine the level of physical and mental hard work you're doing in those 3 years, and that you need to repeat it 5 times over the course of 3 years, and the next weekend again you have to do it 4 times. So that is the level of physical and mental effort this exam requires to just attempt the examination, and imagine cracking it. So that comes through practice and being dedicated to this examination. You do the same kind of simulation of sitting in of 3 hours in 2 days, and over the course of 3 days sitting for five 3 hour examinations. You do this 10 12 times during your preparation. In the 13th time when you go to your final examination, it's just cakewalk. You feel like nothing. Your hand goes in autopilot. You just see the question, start writing. You don't even feel like you're attempting a final examination. And the same goes for prelims also. You do 50 simulations, 50, 60 mock tests. And the 61st time when you're going for your final examination, it's just like another examination. You don't feel the pressure, you don't feel the heat. Even if it's a new question, you have done this 50 times. And it's child's play, 61st time. You feel nothing new. It's like maybe it's back in your JE preparation where you used to give your mocks or your DLP programs which you used to do. See, it's just like that. So, but to do that requires a lot of, as I said, mental effort also. Like physical effort to hai, and the mental strength to do that while giving because for mock test you have an option of not to write also. I gave 2 3 mock tests today, and tomorrow I can just take an off day because no one asked me to write a mock test tomorrow. Final ka to alag baat hai. And when you go back tomorrow and also do it, and you do the same exercise for 10 times, 12 times, 15 times, 16 times, 20 times. For prelims, I gave 60 mock tests. And for mains, I gave like 40, 45 to 50 mock tests. See, and this is over the course of 2 years. Once when I got 99 rank, and once I got 33 rank. So you do this twice. So overall, I gave 90 mock prelim tests and about 120 or so 90 mains mock test and 120 or so prelims mock test. So this is the level of effort you need to put in. And if you put this effort, the result to aayega hi. No one can stop the result from coming. Pakka you'll get in. If not this year, something happens next year, pakka you'll get in. And because there's also a luck factor added to it. But that is important. You need to be ready to put that effort. Know the cost of coming into the exam because you'll miss a lot of things. You'll miss a trip with your friends. You'll miss that cousin's wedding, or you'll miss some other important family functions. But you don't let them distract you. You sit in your place, you study, you do that for 1 year, and then you'll get those results. And once results start coming in, once you qualify prelims, you'll automatically get that motivation or the confidence to attempt mains again. You'll qualify mains, then you'll get that motivation to give interview again. So then that cycle gets running. So to run that cycle for the first year, you have to give your entire efforts, because once you fail prelims for the first time, it's very, very disappointing. And I've seen many of the people who failed prelims. Thankfully, I didn't fail prelims in my preparation, but I've seen people who did, and it's very, very disappointing. And it's very difficult to get back to your preparation because the next prelims is only after 1 year. So that motivation or the mental, the perseverance or the attitude you have to put towards this examination in order to crack. So sorry, it's been a long monologue, but if I have any questions from you, it'd be very helpful. You can pass mic around. Just raise your hand for any questions. It's a small hall anyway.
My question is, after my graduation, I'm planning to go to Delhi for preparation. So, I've seen toppers, they say that there is self-study. So, what should be our relationship with the coaching? Should we join coaching for all the options, and what should be our preparation?
See, that's a great, great question. Because when I was in my college, I thought of going to a coaching center to take coaching. But after my college, as I said, I watched those toppers videos. I realized that there's not much coaching centers could add. So, and for coaching, you're giving 3 4 hours a day. To going, you attend the classes, you come back, and those don't really add up. To the thing when you study by yourself for those 3 hours, 3 4 hours. I felt that's much more useful than going to the coaching center or sitting before a laptop screen for those 2 3 hours or 3 4 hours. So, if you ask me personally, for general studies at least, it's not that great to go for a coaching. You can do it by yourself because the resource list is available. The books are very well detailed. You can read the NCERTs to build your basics, and then go to the reference books. The reference books are very well written. Internet is wonderful. Even with Chat GPT, it will make your preparation just so very easy. If you have any doubt, just type the question there. You'll get your answer. Watch those YouTube videos. It's just about confidence, because हमें लगता है कि say there's a concept X, or for example take how cyclones are formed. कि एनसीईआरटी में देखिए हाउ साइक्लोन्स आर फॉर्म, इट्स सेम, इट्स आल्सो देयर इन जीसी लियोन की साइक्लोन्स कैसे फॉर्म होते हैं. यू टाइप इन यूट्यूब की हाउ साइक्लोन्स आर फॉर्म्ड, यू गेट a 3-minute beautiful video with all the animation showing how cyclones are formed with all hot air in red, cold air in blue, all very beautiful, very detailed. But still you don't get that confidence until someone from the coaching institute tells you the same thing कि cyclones are formed ऐसे. So if you have that confidence कि हाँ 2-3 जगह मैंने देख लिया and this is the right answer, and that you don't have to go for coaching. Self study is the best. And I did self study. And as I said, Akshat Bhaiya, who was here too at that time and who came here, he also did self study. And there are a couple of guys who also did coaching and cracked the examination. But remember, if you're going for coaching, your 8 hours of your preparation or 10 hours of your preparation should be apart from those 3 or 4 hours you give to the coaching. That is not included. So you are effectively spending 10, 11 or 12 hours a day, depending on which coaching do you take. But don't depend on the coaching. The dependence on the coaching centers is the worst thing that can happen to your preparation. You can take help from them, you can use their resources, you can use their materials, but don't depend on them. Do your study. Don't wait for the coaching centers to teach something. You do your study. If they're teaching anything additional, it's well and good. Just note it in your notebook and just keep it with you. And if they don't teach anything, it's okay. There's nothing new about it. So one thing, don't depend on coaching centers and don't be afraid to do self-study. Self-study is the best mantra, which I feel. Okay, and when it comes to optional, it's a completely alien subject, anthropology or sociology. So in that way, you need to go for the coaching unless you're taking a mechanical or mathematics or electrical engineering as an option, which is your the department. So if you're taking humanities subject as your optional, then you can go for coaching because that's an alien subject and you need someone to teach it. If not, for general studies, it is general studies. It's not something expert thing or something, so you can study on your own. So next question.
Is it better to mug up NCRT or it is a waste of time? Like we can do like advanced books.
See, you don't mug up NCRTs. You don't mug up anything in your preparation. It's all about getting your concepts clear. So UPSC is a very conceptual examination. It's not like social studies है, geography है, history है, तो बस mug up कर लेते हैं. No, you don't mug up NCRTs. You don't mug up anything. So NCRT भी you don't mug up. There's no use getting knowing line to line in an NCRT. You just study it. You try to understand the concept.
There is I have seen some video in that some officer is saying that below the picture there is some line, the question is formed by that, and we don't, if we read that, know that we are missed the question like that.
See, the thing is, when you do the revision for 5-6 times, then you'll automatically remember things like this. But the thing is, your main duty is to, today that question might have come from NCRT, but 2 years down the line, that question might come from some other book. You can't keep reading or mugging up these books. So your strategy should be to answer, if you're conceptually clear, kahin se bhi a question aaya na, you can answer that. So you should be conceptually clear rather than just mugging up those NCRTs. If you're mugging up NCRTs, अगर NCRT से question आएगा तो you'll write. But अगर नहीं आया तो, so you don't have the strategy, na. So it's always better to keep your concepts clear.
One more thing, how to choose between IAS, IFS, and IPS like that? We ask in the interview like, so what is the
See, that is also a very personalized choice ki what you want to do. See, IAS is a service which is not a generalized service, which is a generalized service, not a specialized service like say IPS or an IFS. So IFS is a specialized service purely based on diplomacy. So if you're interested in diplomacy or political science, or if your interest lie in international news and international studies, then IFS is a good option to go. Or if your interest lies in policing, or you want that, power to your hand, the raw power which you need, which you are in executing things, which you be 24/7 on duty and with no holidays and stuff like that. If you enjoy doing those things, then police is this for you. The policing is that specific thing, like being physically fit, doing things which are very much impossible, but they'll get it done, having that manpower, commanding them, the teams, the investigation. So then you can go for the police. Whereas IAS, it's a generalized service. Say if you understand diversity, so one day you can be posted in health, the next day you can be posted in, where is it? Health is a social sector. One day you can be posted in that, and next day you can be posted to Ministry of Industries, promotion of industries, where it's an economic sector. And in the field, if you love field work, then IAS is the thing for you. So if you love executing those schemes, going into the people, that is inspections, doing those, executing those schemes of education or things like that, then IS is the thing for you. But for these three services are very different. So it's not like how do you choose between them. You choose based on what your personality is and what your personality suits to which service the best.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Priya. Good evening. So my question is like how we can approach answer writing part of the preparation. Should we follow daily answer writing or alternative day or weekly basis?
See, answer writing is probably the most important part of your preparation, because finally your output are your answers in your examination. So that is where your most focus should be. So to give my answer writing strategy, so what I did was, initially when you are new to the preparation, you give very bad answers, very bad in the sense very bad answers, and it's okay to write bad answers. So initially what you do is do daily answer writing. In Insights on India website, so there is a program called Secure, I think. So where they give you 4 or 5 questions from the newspapers of that day, and you pick a question. You have the time limit of 7 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on whether it is a 10 marker or a 15 marker, and then you write the answer. You write a very bad answer, and you repeat this thing for say 50 days, the next 1.5 or 2 months. Then you'll reach an amateurish stage of writing answers, where you know you are good enough to now attempt a mock test. Now you can stop daily answer writing and then give 2 mock tests every 2 weeks. Every 15 days, you give a couple of mock tests, 3 hour wala, proper 3 hour test with all 20 questions. You give them. Now you keep on doing this till the end of your preparation, and till prelims, like 3 months before the prelims, when you actually start preparing for prelims. So you can do this. Then you'll be left with say 9 months. Mein agar 2 mahine daily answer writing hote, you'll be left with 7 months, where you can do this exercise for 14 days, where you'll write 28 mock tests. I think that's good enough, very good enough, to keep yourself prepared for mains before the prelim starts. So after the prelim starts, after the prelims preparation starts, there's a 3 month gap for prelims, where you give it dedicatedly to prelims. So after that, there is a 3 month gap between prelims and mains. That's prelims gets over in June, early June, and then in September you'll have June, July, and August you'll have for yourself. In September you'll give your mains. So in these 3 months, every weekend you run a simulation of the final mains, where you give 5 mock tests every weekend. So after doing this for say, you'll have 12 weeks, about 12-13 weeks. After you do this for 13 weeks, that will be good enough to give your final answers. So that is the answer writing strategy which you will have. And after writing each answer, you analyze for yourself, how can I can make this answer better, or could my introduction be better, or could I give a better conclusion, or these points might be added. Even the structure you can modify. यहाँ पे मैं diagram बना सकता था, और यहाँ पे I can give a schematic or something. You'll find everything like. And at one point you'll hit your comfort spot. You'll hit the right spot ki हाँ यहाँ पे I could have made a diagram, यहाँ पे I'm good at making points, and this gets ingrained in your muscle memory. So if you do keep on doing it, after one point you'll be able to write beautiful answers in short span, in crisp and right amount of time. So that is my strategy, and more or less you can follow that. That's a pretty basic strategy.
Hello sir, good evening sir.
Yeah. Yes.
Sir, how to manage time and word limit during the mains exam?
See, that is what I mentioned. Now, when you start writing the examinations, either you will overshoot your time. Ki jo, like you have to write 20 answers in 3 hours. So 10 are 10 markers, 10 are 15 markers. So for each 10 marker, you will get 7 minutes. For each 15 marker, you will get 10 minutes. So मैंने buffer 10 minute मान लिया, which here and there will anyway exhaust your buffer. So now you have a word limit of 150 words and 250 words for 10 markers and 50 markers respectively. So now when you initially start writing answers, either you will be able to give 100 words in 7 minutes or 150 words in 10 minutes. So either you overshoot your time or you underwrite your words. So now when you do it the second time in the daily answer writing, in the second time there's a little bit of improvement, the 150 words. So first initial strategy I would say ki 7 minutes का answer 7 minutes में रोक दो and see how many words you have written. And next when you write, improve those words, like 100 words, maybe you'll write 110 words in 2-3 days. After 3-4 days, maybe you'll write 120 words. After 3-4 days, you'll write 140-150 words. Then at some point, you'll hit your optimal speed of getting 150 words in for a 7 marker, for a 10 marker in 7 minutes. And then you start writing mock test. When you do this mock test, then you'll know how to manage time. क्योंकि एक maybe difficult question आएगा where you lose about 30 or 40 seconds extra, and those 10 minutes buffer which I kept at the end, that will compensate for this loss of 40-50 seconds at each point of time. So as you keep on practicing, you'll be able to better manage your word limit and time limit. And at the end of the day, if you are well versed and well practiced, you can write 150 words aram se, even 160, 170 words in 7 minutes.
भैया, is it really worth means to continue with that preparation even after 23?
It is definitely worth continuing with the preparation. So I'm not saying कि 23 पे crack करना ही करना है. So it's not possible. There are like what 1 or 2 people who do that in a batch. Like in 5 lakh people who give the examination, there'll be 1 or 2 people who actually do that. So I'm not saying it's not worth continuing with preparation, but it's better as soon as you give the examination. Taki you would know at least in 3-4 years you would know. Like when you want to leave the examination, you'll still be young. If you want to do away with the preparation, you'll be still young to do some other things. So I'm not saying कि एक बार 23 or 24 हो गया तो just leave the preparation. It's not like that. If you feel like continuing, if you have the passion or the motivation or the drive to write the examination, you can do that. Because I've seen people take 6-7 attempts to crack the examination and done that in their 7th attempt or the 8th attempt, not qualifying prelims for 5 attempts and then getting into IAS in the 8th attempt or the 7th attempt. I've seen people do that. So it's not like it's not worth not continuing with the examination after 23 years. It's better you do it early. That's it.
So some interview tips from your side.
See, interview is a very, very later stage. So, and by the time you give interview, it'll be 3 years down the line or 4 years down the line, and then the boards will change, this pattern will change. So, there's not much I could advise on the interview. So once you give prelims and mains, once you qualify, you'll have a fair understanding of what to do with the interview. So interview का basic funda यही होता है कि like you prepare a CV in UPSC we call it a DAF, detailed application forms. जैसे हमारा CV होता है, DAF भी ऐसे ही होता है, where they ask you for different your name, your occupation, your father's name, your earlier jobs, family details, place of birth, and stuff like that. And the thing is, you need to be very well versed with these things. Even knowing your meaning of your name or your important events on your date of birth or your year of birth or the significance of your native place or things like that. Abhi ke liye it's very basic thing, but please.
Sir, I wanted to know if reading newspapers would really help in the preparation or
See, newspaper would always help because newspaper is not just a, it gives you an outlook of this world, what's happening across the world. So newspaper always helps. You don't have to read 2 newspapers. You can follow either one. I follow the Hindu, you can follow the Indian Express or any other newspaper, it doesn't matter. But not very bad quality ones, the top quality ones. So reading one newspaper would always help because the editorials in those newspapers, they are a sort of your main answer only because they would also compress the words in some space, limited space, sticking to the topic. So you would really learn how to write answers that that are consistent with the topic given in a limited words. So newspapers would always help. We'll give you some wide views, and reading newspapers also give you confidence because after 2-3 months of your preparation, when you have completed a subject or two, so when you start reading those newspapers, you'll start finding those subjects or those concepts in the newspapers, and that is when your preparation is going good, and that will build confidence in you. So newspaper always helps.
Can you explain your film strategy? Like before 20, it was like very static. Now it is very dynamic. I mean, even if you know the answers, but the options are like only one correct is only one pair is match, only 2 pair is not like this.
that I feel that's a very stupid pattern to have in prelims. That pairs wala. But luckily I passed my prelims before that pattern came out. Probably I wouldn't have done that the third time if I had to. But see, prelims का तो एक ही strategy है. See, as I said, 9 months if you prepare for mains, you'll have adequate knowledge of the subject. So the thing is, for the next 3 months, when you're preparing for prelims, you have only 2 important jobs. 1, mold your knowledge towards the strategy of the prelims. 2, revision. So what I did is, in those 90 days of preparation for the prelims, I gave 60 mock tests, full length mock test. Not sectional wala या subject wala, full length mock test of 100 questions for 2 hours. You sit, you give it, and then you do the revision. So now you do this on a scale कि आज मैंने 60 question attempt किया, and then I get some marks. After some days I'll do it 70 questions, 80 questions, 90 questions, sometimes 95, 100, all the questions, sometimes 55, And now I have a pattern, I have a graph where the number of questions answered versus the number of questions attempted versus the marks I got. So now you can draw the peak कि कहाँ peak hit हो रहा है आपका, कि maybe for me the peak was at 85, 84. कि if I'm attempting 84 in and around questions, I'm getting the highest marks then. For some, it's like 75 only. If 80, maybe their guesses are wrong and they're getting less marks. But if I'm attempting 75, my core questions are going wrong and my guesses are getting right. So I don't want to lose out those extra questions. So this is here where you hit the peak. And now after 20, 30 tests, you understand कि मेरा peak 85 पे है या 80 पे है. Now you know कि अभी जो paper आएगा इसमें 80 question attempt कर रहा हूँ. And then you play around. Maybe you answer history more in one examination, in one mock test. In the next mock test, you answer geographical questions more or this random questions more. And then you'll hit the sweet spot. कि हाँ मेरे हिस्ट्री का गेसेस करेक्ट नहीं चल रहा तो आई वोंट गो फॉर हिस्ट्री गेसेस व्हिच यूज्ड टू बी in my case I thought I was very bad at history, but turns out when I gave this mock test I understood कि my history guesses जो भी है वो correct चल रही. I don't know the reason behind this. This is all, you know, I just correlated कि हाँ history का ज़्यादा attempt कर रहा हूँ तो ज़्यादा marks आ रहा है. I don't know why that happens. I still feel I'm bad at history. But you know, the thing is, you objectively know कि हाँ ये आंसर करना है कि ये नहीं करना है. And when you do this again for 20 times, by the end of the 60 mock test, you'll have a fair idea कि अगर one pair वाला question आया मैं छोड़ दूंगा या तो मैं attempt करूंगा. Because you will know कि अगर one pair वाला question 20 आया ना, बाकी 80 में you'll get enough marks to cross the cut-off mark. You'll have that confidence, or you'll have the strategy कि one pair वाला आया तो उसमें कुछ answer करूंगा where I have good idea of stuff, और कुछ नहीं करूंगा where I don't have the idea of stuff. बस. Yes.
While choosing optional, if you will compare theoretical subjects with the numerical technical subjects, तो भी ऐसा लगता है कि मान लीजिए अगर theoretical में कोई क्वेश्चन आया 20 मार्क्स का लेट सपोज, तो उसमें थ्योरी लिखनी है और हमारे पास टेक्निकल में एक सब्जेक्ट आया जैसे वाले SFD PMD बनानी मान लीजिए, तो अगर वो पूरी SFD PMD सही बन गई तो मार्क्स पूरे मिलेंगे क्या in comparison with numerical, in comparison to theoretical?
The thing is, in UPSC there's a thing called scaling. Say it's a very complex procedure which they didn't release. It's not transparent. They do it internally, so we don't know how do they do that. But roughly speaking, say history ka highest mark, because it's a proper theory subject or it's a humanities subject. History out of 500, history ka highest might be around only 210 or a 220, and maths ka highest might be around 410 or a 420. So they balance this 310, this 210 with that 410, so that roughly history ka topper and maths ka topper get equal marks. So they have a complex and an obscure system to do that. So you'll get those full marks, but by scaling, of course, you won't get the full 410 marks. You fall back to say 290 or something, and history wala bhi will come up to say 280s or 290s. So they have roughly a system of equalizing those marks, but we don't know what the system is. No one knows. Just the UPSC examination cell knows, and they don't let it out.
Like reading and this is like boring. So normally Byju's and all these are the just a scene like watching a analysis of the newspaper. So what is the thing that's watching?
Come again, I didn't really understand.
मतलब कि अगर देखो कि Byju's का एनालिसिस देख लो आप
हाँ.
कि उसने एनालिसिस किया पेपर का और जो एडिटोरियल की 2-3 सेक्शन उनका एनालिसिस कर लिया या फिर आप न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ लो कौन सा ज़्यादा बेनिफिशियल है?
See, the point is not watching the analysis, the point is analyzing by yourself. That's why I'm saying you don't depend on this coaching institutes. You read the newspaper, you analyze, 3 editorial की जगह एक ही analyze कर दो, it's very good. Rather than watching the analysis of 3 editorials. Because you need to reach that point ki where you're able to analyze those concepts yourself. कि news पढ़ लिया, you know what the analysis, what those pros are, cons are, or why it's coming up. And when you start, you know, picking these ready-made already cooked wala things na ki which the Byju's and Unacademy come up, you won't be able to reach that stage. There'll be too much of spoon feeding.
और भैया कितना हेल्पफुल है करंट जो है वो बेस में आंसर राइटिंग में करंट अफेयर्स?
Current affairs, they're always helpful. Pura helpful. Major part of your answer comes from answer writing, from current affairs.
सर एक क्वेश्चन है बेस रिलेटेड कि ऐसा है कि जैसे मतलब आपने जब मैकेनिकल किया था, ठीक है, मतलब मैंने मैकेनिकल लिया है, ठीक है, और मतलब रिसेंट में भी डीआरडी ज्वाइन करूंगा, वहाँ मेरे को सारा काम मैकेनिकल का ही करना है. तो मैं अगर मैकेनिकल ऑप्शन लेता हूँ, मेरे को अच्छा लगता है, मेरे को पता मैकेनिकल अच्छा खासा कमांड आ चुका है. मैं अगर ऑप्शन लेता हूँ मतलब ऑप्शन तो मैकेनिकल, ये क्या क्या चेंजेस फेस करने पड़ सकते हैं, मतलब आपने क्यों मैकेनिकल नहीं लिया और वो
So as I said, na, I didn't feel confident that I was good at mechanical or even in mathematics.
If I feel that okay, yes, I'm good at mechanical, so
हाँ,
the
तो वो
yeah,
confidence,
understanding percent.
वो confidence ना, once you go through the syllabus, you need to have that confidence कि हाँ, ये topics सारे मेरे को आते हैं. So once you have that confidence, you can easily take mechanical. उसमें changes कुछ करना नहीं पड़ेगा.
सर पहले मतलब वो साथ में लेके चल सकते हैं उससे कोई दिक्कत नहीं होती और नंबर मिल जाते हैं कैंपस से.
हाँ. Number का see you don't. I know marks are very important, but you pick your option keeping marks in mind ना. तो core वाला चीज़ है where you have to मतलब optional ऐसी चीज़ है where इतना मतलब messed up mind होता है at one point of your preparation, and you need to pick up a book. If you pick up one book and sit and study it for 4-5 hours, you could comfortably do it. Then you need to pick that optional. So उस level का comfort है किसी optional से. अगर mechanical से उस level का comfort है कि मतलब इतना messed up mind है, पूरा stressed है, like you don't know what to do, and you pick up a mechanical book and you start reading and you feel it interesting. If you have that comfort, na, take go for mechanical. If you don't have that comfort, look for the subject where you have comfort. From this side also.
But we don't talk about the efforts we need to put on every single day when we get into IAS, IPS. On each every day, you should come up with a solution which are better for our district. But sometimes confusion comes within whether we'll be able to solve those problems or not, whether we'll be able to do on every single day for the like for 20 to 30 years.
See, whether you'll be able to do that or not is a later question. Later, the question is whether you'll get a chance to do that or not. So for that, first you'll need to come into the service. Then chair is the biggest teacher. Once you come into the chair, it will teach you. When you go into the field, when you know कि आज इसका solution मिलना ही मिलना है, need to do something and get a solution for that, you will get to that solution. So that the academy is there to train you for that. There is a elaborate training program to do that. But उससे पहले focus on this examination, because when you have those thoughts in mind कि क्या if I get into the service and I may not be able to deliver वाला dilemma, if you have that, you will not be able to put your efforts into the preparation of this examination. So that is a question for later. And see, once you crack the examination, you are in one of the best minds in the country. Of course, when you come in crack the JEE itself, you are among the top cream, and you're cracking UPSC, two of the hardest examinations in this country. Of course, you'll be able to do it. If not you, who will be able to do it?
Okay, so with great power comes greater gain. So I saw in line that IS officer or with the correction in their lifetime they earn up to 100 crores. Is it true? I have
I don't know how to answer that question. So like you have a question whether you learn more in computer sciences background or more in sciences. Yes. See, people who want to be corrupt, they can be corrupt. If you start being corrupt, na, there's no end to corruption in any service. Like you can become a street fighter and earn a lot more than what an IAS officer does. It doesn't matter. So if you get really passionate about doing this, you can do that. So that question, I don't know even how to answer that question. There's some question from this side.
For ethics, I'm asking that one book is enough or we have to like
That comes again from the resource list, which I said ना कि research करना है, उसके बाद resource list बनेगा. Your one book is enough or two books is enough. और उस research से आएगा. I can give you the ready-made answer right now. I have an answer in my mind. But if I give you the answer, ना, you will not do that research and not get to know the nuances of the preparation.
NCERT ethics book is good or not?
नहीं, ethics के लिए NCERT ही हो जाता है. Once you start preparing, you'll have hundreds of answers to this question. There are many opportunities where you'll learn. See, IAS or IPS is a thankless job. My answer is I love doing thankless jobs. So यहाँ पे ना कोई क्रेडिट नहीं मिलता है. If you do given मतलब हमें लगता है कि यार IAS बहुत पावरफुल पोजीशन है, गाड़ी मिलता है, ये सब मिलता है, ये सब है. both, you have that PIP treatment and all, na? But the things you do on the field, no one gives you credit for that. No one knows कि हाँ यहाँ मतलब PM आवास योजना का घर क्यों बन रहा है. No one knows कि ये यहाँ पे inspection हुई तभी तो ये सब हो रहा है. So that was my motivation. I like doing thankless jobs. अच्छा लगता है कि मतलब कुछ अच्छा काम किया है and you're not getting any credit for it. देख के मतलब मेरे को तो मजा आता था. I don't know why. So there are number of answers for this question. Or you may love doing an execution work. Or there are some answers where you may love policy making. Where this is such a field, the service is such a field कि you can go to that stage where you can influence policy of the entire country. जैसे to recount one instance, we had an interaction with the health secretary. She came to our academy and we were talking with her. So she faced a problem during COVID कि there was a nurse shortage. They were not having enough nurses. So she changed the curriculum of a college to include nursing ka curriculum in that through a policy. And now they have an extra intake of 500 nurses per year from that college, extra outcome. So that is the level of policy making you can do. If you apply that to the entire country, you'll have lakhs of nurses going into the system, healthcare system. So this could be one of the motivation where you want to be an IAS or an IPS or whatever you want. So once you start preparing, you'll have a number of answers for that question. You don't have to worry about that.
When we start preparation for subjects like history and political science, when the student has some chapters like advent of Europeans and decline of Mughals, so there are a lot of objective data, a lot of dates, a lot of names, a lot of wars are there. Okay. In political science, there are a lot of articles. So how should we manage and mug up or understand, or how should we prepare, like what is important, what is not important from these topics?
See, what is important or what is not important comes from the previous papers and the current affairs. So if the previous papers are focusing on some topic, that subject obviously important, you have to focus more on it. Or if some topic is in the news due to some kind of current affairs, again you'll focus on it. So those two are the things. And to memorize or not, it depends on you. So my strategy was, I was very bad at memorizing these dates or periods of the war, say कि कुछ हुआ 1850 में या 1760 में. So I didn't actually memorize those things. So my shortcut for that was in mains. So I used to write ki in the late 1700s or in the early 1800s. So I used to, I don't remember these things, but I know कि कहीं आसपास हुआ है 1820s के, मतलब in and around maybe plus or minus 10 years. I didn't remember the exact date. So I used to, use this strategy for that because I was very bad at memorizing and I gave up at one point कि मेरे से नहीं हो पा रहा है and I need to do a workaround, and this was my workaround. So even in the polity you can do that. If you don't remember the exact article, you can just write as per the Indian Constitution. He understands कि you didn't remember the article, but at least you're not faking it कि कुछ मतलब 150 के जगह 250 लिखते हैं, ऐसा कुछ तो नहीं है ना. You know कि Indian Constitution में है and you're giving the concept, it's well enough. You may not get all the marks for it, but at least you'll get 60 or 70% of the marks. So that used to be my strategy. Any other questions?
Sir.
How to approach for the essay-based questions, essay-based papers?
See, essay ka, it's good to it's important to develop good brainstorming techniques. So each essay ka, like आजकल तो बहुत ही vague topics आ रहे हैं, like no man meets the same river twice वाला, or there are some even those English words are very difficult to understand. I used to read it in Hindi and then understand the meaning. See, I'm not a native speaker of Hindi, but still I used to do that because the English is such complex thing. So the best thing of that is develop a question. I used to use this technique called question technique. कुछ तो नाम था, but what you used to do is you look at a topic and write down as many questions as possible from that topic. The topic is no man meets the same river twice. List down all the questions. What is a man? What is a river? Why does no man meets the same river twice? What if there is a thing called, what if there is a situation where the man meets the same river twice? Yes, list down the questions, and that forms the body of your essay automatically. Define man, define river, contextually, and then explain the concept कि क्यों नहीं हो रहा है, मतलब man changes every time or the river changes every time, and then give the examples कि river का कुछ example उठा लो, man का कुछ example उठा लो, and then give a conclusion कि मतलब give a counter opinion कि ऐसा भी कुछ हो सकता है कि some things are, some people don't change or some things don't change, and last में you can give a conclusion कि change is the only constant thing in the universe and just write a topic on it. So when you form these questions, you'll form the body. And ये develop करते करते you'll write good essays.
Okay guys, we will wrap in 5 minutes. तो किसी को कोई final questions हो तो कोई general questions हो.
How do I take up or break down my habits? This is general question.
Break down your. I didn't understand.
My previous habits or some new habits I want to take.
प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन की किताबें पढ़ ये जनरल क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा
I didn't really understand your question, but I'm not.
हजमा खराब है हजमोला जी
I cannot give a good answer also because I haven't break down any of my habits also or something like that. I'm sorry.
So many people try for UPSC, like say 5 lakh people tried. Let's say 50,000 are seriously trying for that. They follow their strategy of 9 months, 3 months. What the one thing that take out of that 100 and those of 1,000 who selected for UPSC? As for your term, you take 99 and 38 rank. What do you think do differently from those 50,000 that can take?
See, I didn't do anything different. I did the same thing the 9 months, 3 months diligently with perseverance. I didn't miss a single day. I didn't take any day off. I had my strategy, I had my targets, I was achieving them every day. And you'd be surprised to know, even after having this target, there'll be many people who don't achieve them. Who don't have the motivation to do it, or you just keep kicking the can down the road and postponing their targets or their things, or just don't have the courage to write an answer because they feel they might write a bad answer and that will hit their confidence. So these are the barriers you have to come with. Initial inertia hai na, you need to break that. And I have met people who had great knowledge and who haven't done enough preparation or enough practice of answer writing, and they're missing out on the final list. Because that is what turns out. At the end of the day, no one cares how much knowledge you have or how or you as a person. The evaluator just sees 20 of your answers and give you the mark. So your answer should be good. At the end of the day, you should try for it. Not, you don't have to be an expert in geography or a history expert or an international relations expert or something. So the rest try to be that, which is what I feel. At the end of the day, those 100, 200 are only those people who actually write good answers.
Well, I was just curious to know, what was your motivation to write the exam once again?
क्यों दिए
उसका भी actually brainstorming. I had said कि when I gave that attempt and when I gave the interview, I had 40 days left for my prelims and I started preparing for the prelims. And then I had a very clear brainstorming thing left कि अगर मेरा rank 72 से नीचे है, like 1 से 72 के बीच में है, then I won't give the examination again because I'll get IAS. So if it's above 72, I will definitely give the examination again. So because I won't be getting into IAS, that was very clear brainstorming set था. So with that in mind, I started preparing for prelims. As soon as I saw that 99, I knew I had to give the examination. Monday को result आया था, and I have to give the examination on Sunday. The next Sunday after 5 days. So ये तो मेरा दिमाग में already set था कि एक और attempt तो दूंगा if I don't get into IAS. So after I gave my second attempt, I was done with the examination. So I went into my previous service happily. So if I get in, I get in. If I don't, I don't. So that was the thing. I was in audit and accounts previous.
भैया वैसे जनरल था, मतलब इतना सारा जो कॉन्सेप्ट्स है उन सारी चीज़ों को एक साथ कैसे दिमाग में, मतलब मेन रिवीजन का स्ट्रेटेजी
प्रैक्टिस.
See, anywhere is fine, Delhi or your home, but Delhi has pros and cons. Delhi is expensive, Delhi is polluted very, and Delhi इतना low होता है ना OR में, like 30-40,000 cases in 30-40,000 people in OR and who just do the preparation for UPSC. So you don't you might feel uncomfortable with preparing in Delhi, but Delhi is a hub for resources. मतलब 10 meters here, 10 meters there, you'll go to a coaching institute wala test center, or you'll find a bookstore who is selling the mock tests of 10 different institutes or previous 10 years ka papers in a detailed way or something. So Delhi is a hub for resources which you'll not get at your home. So this is the balance. So for me, resources were important because I come from a tier 2 town in Andhra Pradesh. So I wouldn't have gotten a lot of resources. So I chose Delhi as my a place of preparation. But people also choose Hyderabad because when compared to Delhi, the resources are less, but it's also cheaper when compared to Delhi, and it's a better city to live in. The air is better, you get better water quality and stuff like that. There's a lot of pollution and all. So that is the thing between these two. But At the end of the day, you need to go to that place where you can comfortably give 8 to 10 hours a day. So your comfort is the main criteria in choosing a place. Yeah, that's why you just write answers. No one is testing your knowledge there. You're writing answers in the initial time just to give your hand the practice of writing those answers. Because in IIT you'll be solving problems and writing equations but not answers. So in the initial 50-60 days, when you have that gap of the knowledge, no one cares how bad your answer is or how good your answer is. The only reason you're doing that thing or that practice of writing those answers is give your hand the art of writing those answers in those 7 minutes for 150 words. So there will be gaps. You'll suddenly be stuck in writing the answer. You won't be able to finish the paper. But it's all very, very well. No one is going to judge your answers based on that. Like as you keep on preparing, your answers start getting better, and you'll write beautiful answers after 6-7 months. But you can't do that on your day one because you're still a beginner.
भैया सर आपकी रैंक जो थी लाइक सेकंड अटेम्प्ट में अच्छी थी. So as a beginner, my biggest fear is how will I compete with the person who has given attempts?
So in my first attempt, I was competing with the person who has given attempts.
Yeah, that's why.
You have to start somewhere. So the thing is, you can't compete with them, or you don't have to compete with them. You do what you want to do the best. So जो अपना आंसर राइटिंग है, वो अपना मॉक टेस्ट का प्रैक्टिस है, वो you do your best. And then automatically rank will come. When I was the first timer, I got 99 rank. So there are many people who gave twice or thrice who are behind me, and the many people who are first timers who are in front of me. So it doesn't matter. So when you do your thing, like जो मैंने strategy बताया, if you do it diligently, perfectly, to the point, with good determination, perseverance, you'll cross the line, no matter what. See, in the first 50 days, you won't get your answers checked or something. Because in the first 50 days, your point is not writing good answers, but writing answers. You should be able to put those 150 words. So, in the first 150 days, your metrics are time and the number of words, whether you have filled those 2 pages or not, and whether you have done it in the 7 minutes or not. And then when you start writing mock tests, those you'll getting anyways checked in the coaching institutes, and they will award you marks, write those comments. And then you'll start understanding after 10 days or after 5 mocks or 3 mocks, you start understanding that I'm getting better, and you compare it with the the answer key which the institute gives you. So you start comparing with these two, then you'll start realizing that your answers start matching those keys better. And say after 3-4 weeks, it's a slow process. This learning curve is very steep. It's a very slow process, a gradual process. So after 3 or 4 months, then you'll have very good answers where you'll get good marks in mock interviews, mock tests also. Couple of questions. Yeah.
My question is a little bit personal. Yeah, my question is a little bit more personal, but what exactly motivated you to choose civil services over a job? Because we are in IIT, so that seems the more comfortable.
The thing is, I always wanted to give civil service examination. Like, both there is in school only I decided I had to give this examination. I don't know why, because it's so far back. I don't remember why I chose that. Because once after coming into the college, I used to speak with. I used to speak with the seniors who are who got placements and all. I started realizing whether I want that life or not, whether to be confined to those metro cities and be working, or go to this side where you won't be working in metro cities for the first 10-15 years of your life. You'll be working in remote areas and grassroots level areas in the type 2-3 cities. In the district. So I felt the later better because it fit my personality more. So that is why I went for civil services. But once you come into this, the way for sustaining motivation is keeping daily targets. Because like every 2-3 months your friends will start going on trips. They'll post those Instagram stories and all. So you'll get demotivated easily. So for that you need to have daily targets. The last question. Division. See, it depends. As I said, कि prelims के लिए 3 महीने काफी है, and prelims और mains के बीच में there are 3 more months. That is also enough. So 9 months if you start, 9 months if you do the first round, and for prelims के लिए 3 महीने का revision is good enough, and then 3 more months for mains, done. You don't have to give more time on that. Can we close the session? Thank you.
Thank you, Bhaiya, for the enlightening session. Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the conclusion of this seminar, I am honored to express our deepest gratitude to all of you being part of this exceptional event, especially to Tharun Bhaiya, who generously shared his time, experiences and insights with the IIT Guwahati community. Your words will resonate with our students and motivate them to pursue with their aspirations fearlessly. I would like to thank the organizing team of my fellow sailors, without whose tireless efforts, meticulous planning, this event would not have been possible. As we conclude, I would like to invite Content Head of SAIL, Mr. Khan Chaudhary, to felicitate our esteemed alumni. Thank you and have a wonderful day ahead. And this is the link to the WhatsApp group of IIT Guwahati students preparing for civil services examinations. Those who are not joined can join.
स्कैन नहीं हो रहा है